Alright, people. Here's another rant. Well, you did it. Iowa. You voted back in Reynolds and you voted back in Chucky. I thought there were fewer bigots in this state than what there are, but I guess I was wrong. You people are out there and you don't care about women's rights. You don't care about same sex rights. The only thing you care about is the economy. Well, I can understand that to a point. If we didn't have a global inflation. See, I could understand that if it was only a nationwide inflation. You know, like what Bush did when he sent us into a recession at the end of his term. I can understand it. But we're in a global inflation. And does Biden have any control over a global inflation? No, he don't. Let's just face it. Biden kept our gas bills for a gallon of gas down to the average of $3.80. Oh, that's horrible. That's really horrible. Well, let's see. There's places that are paying $10 a gallon. But America's horrible. Because Biden busted his butt and kept the cost of gas down as much as he could. Even though the largest oil provider in the world, named Russia, went to war with Ukraine on false premises. Oh my gosh, the cost of eggs have gone up. Oh, let's see. Who's one of the largest providers of grain in the world? Oh my God, it's Ukraine. What is Putin doing concerning Ukraine? He's stopping shipments from getting out. So now, it's going to cost you more to feed that chicken. Now, we already established the cost of oil has gone up. So now, it's going to cost you more for those cartons of eggs to be shipped to the store. So guess what happens? The cost of your eggs go up. Was that Biden's fault? Or was it Putin's? But you want to blame Biden for it. Because you don't want to look up the facts. Now, the Republicans have already told us a few things. They want to make sure that they eliminate abortion for any and all reason. Whether it means if the woman gives birth to that baby, it'll kill her. Whether it means if that baby's going to be born and die slowly and painfully after it's born. Whether or not that means that baby is going to be horrifically deformed. Whether that means the woman was raped or the child was molested, and that molested child may take chances of dying in giving birth to that baby, that doesn't matter to you. the baby in the womb is the one that's important. Doesn't matter that that raped woman's baby is going to come out with some horrific STD that is going to deform that baby. Doesn't matter that a rapist might have some DNA defects in them. And personally, I think any man that's out there as a rapist has DNA defects. But hey, you slapped every same sex couple out there in the face and told them they should not have the same rights as you in government. Because our government is not independent from religion. Our Catholic Church runs our government. It's not even Muslim churches. It's not even Jewish churches. It's Christian. And only Christian. They want to make this a Christian country, run by Christian rules and Christian laws. But you know what? Them rich people and those politicians aren't going to have to follow those rules and laws. You know why? And neither are their children. Because they can afford to ship their children off to boarding schools that don't have countries that have those rules and laws. So who gives a crap what the poor have to deal with in this country? Just so long as they stay in power. Because you're too stupid to look up the facts. Too much of a fucking idiot to look up the facts. And you migrants out there who voted for a Republican on all the lies they told, well, congratulations. You know that fascist country you just left to come here and become a citizen in? Well, you just brought it to America. And you know, once the Republicans get it the way they say they want it, where if they don't like who the majority votes for, they can overturn that election, whether that is a primary election where you voted for a different Republican candidate or a different Democrat candidate in their Democrat and Republican races than what you wanted, they can overturn it. They can overturn that Republican primary so that they get the Republican candidate they want, not the one you voted for. They can overturn that election in the Democratic primaries so they can get the easiest to beat Democratic candidate. And then, when it comes to the general election, if you voted for the Democrat, might as well have thrown your vote away because they can overturn it. Doesn't matter what the majority of you voted for. They're passing laws in these Republican states that they can overturn those elections. They have the right to do it. But hey, you migrants really liked that kind of thing in your country, didn't you? It was great. And once they get all of that done, oh, I know you Second Amendmenters love your guns. But you see, once the citizens catch on to what's going on and wants to make a change, guess what? Republicans aren't going to want you armed. Because if you're armed, you can attack them and take their power away. So guess what you're going to lose? You're going to lose your right to own and bear arms. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose it. So the guns you have now, you better best well to tuck them suckers away. Because the Democrats weren't coming for law-abiding citizens. They were coming for the kooks and the idiots shooting up your school's guns. Not yours. But, hey, the Republicans did you a great job of making you afraid of that now, didn't they? Because you believe every little lie they told you. You didn't even bother to look up the facts. Hell, I would love to see you people out there going on to the government page and looking up every senator's and every House member's voting history. And look up what bills they voted for and what bills they voted against. And then figure out what that bill was about. Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of those bills the Republicans have filibustered, not only now that Biden's in office, but while Obama was in office. Could have done you a hell of a lot good. But they couldn't give a Democrat a win. And then you'll notice that when Trump was in office and they had that filibuster proof how many bills they kept from going to the floor. And how many of those bills Democrats actually voted for? They didn't have to. The Republicans had it all in the bag. But they voted for it because they believed in that bill. But you believe the Republican trash talk. Oh, the IRS is spending all this money. Oh, the government is spending all the money on the IRS. You know why they're spending all that money? Because they need to hire more people to hold the rich accountable when they try to skate out and cheat on their taxes. They need to hire more people to process your tax return so you'll get them back this year instead of a year or two from now. You know, they didn't get a cost of living increase the way a lot of you do. But the population sure is growing. So maybe they need to hire a few more people. But you people don't even look at that. So, okay, fine. Let's not fund the IRS. Alright. Then I suggest the IRS pay more attention to the audits they need to do to the rich, and less attention to processing your tax return. You don't want the IRS to have that money? Fine. You don't need your tax return this year. You don't need that W 2 being figured out this year. You can wait until next year or until they get around to it. Depends on how much the rich screw with them and how many of them they're going to end up having to audit. And you know the rich are going to do it. Because, hey, they're out there looking for more tax breaks so that they can pay less taxes. And that's another thing that's going to go away. That minimum tax that the rich has to pay now, guess what? They no longer have to pay it. They can pay zero while 30% of your taxes go out to the government. Oh, and you're still going to get your Social Security taxes taken out of your income and your Medicare taxes taken out of your income. They're just going to make an excuse that it's going to something else. And then they're going to cut you off of Social Security and Medicare. And then grandma, who's been in a nursing home, won't no longer be able to afford that nursing home. So now grandma's going to come in and live with you. And grandma needs 24-hour care. And you can't afford an in-home caregiver. So guess what? Either mommy or daddy's going to have to quit their job and make even less money to support the family. So, let's worry about abortion. Nah. Why worry about that when we can go for euthanasia to get rid of these parents that have become a burden on their children because they can't afford to be able to feed their children. And the fact that you only have to pay $35 for insulin for that kid you've got that has diabetes, and you no longer have to whoops, that's going out the door. You're going to go back to paying $300 for your child's insulin. And you know that $2,000 a year cap on grandma's medication? Well, that's going out the door. You're going to go back up to having to pay $35,000 a year. Because the Republicans have already said they're going to get rid of that stuff. They have said it. It came out of their mouths. Hell, one of them there's an argument between two different Republicans on whether they want to make it every 5 years Social Security gets put on the chopping block or every year. And whether or not people on Social Security should get a cost of living increase or they shouldn't. Whether there should be a minimum wage or whether there shouldn't. Whether there should be an age restriction on putting children to work or whether there shouldn't. These are the things your Republicans are contemplating. Let's see, back in the 1930s, 12-year-old children were put to work in factories for 12 hours a day and paid pennies just to help mom and dad supplement their income, who are also working in those factories. In the 1930s, factories used to do this fun little thing of building this beautiful little town with these beautiful little houses that you could move into. You couldn't own it. They belonged to the corporation. But you got to live in it. And you got this great little car. But you couldn't own it. Oh, you had to maintain this car and this house. But you couldn't own it. It belonged to the corporation. And you could go out and go shopping all you want. But you didn't have real money. You had corporate money. Oh, and you could put your food and stuff on an expensive account. But you know what? You think that $3.80 in gas is too much? Doesn't matter how many hours you put into your job. When you get done, and they get done tabulating what you owe from what you put on your expense account, no matter how much you cut back or how much you bought, it'll come out the same. You'll be lucky to get $100, not a paycheck, $100 a month in your pocket. You know why? Because if they put so little money in your pocket, you'll run out of that money quicker and have to put your food needs and all your basic needs on an expense account from which they can determine how much you spend by how much you make. Because that's the way they'll do it. So your gas won't be $3.80. If you worked 70 hours this week and made far more than what you should have been able to spend in the local grocery store and on gas on just your basic needs, they're going to tally it up and hand you $100. Because that's the way they do it. They made them things illegal, but they'll bring them back. Better believe it. Because it benefits the corporation and the rich. But that's what you voted for. Because you're too damn lazy to look at the facts. You're too damn lazy to look at what the Republicans have actually been saying. Now, have they been actually saying that they want to make corporation towns again? No, they haven't. But by the way they're doing things, you know damn well they're headed that way. They give big corporations and the rich the biggest tax break. They give them the biggest subsidies. They insist that you middle class and you poor pay the biggest amount into taxes and the treasury, and the rich take out the biggest amount from those corporate from that treasury. Did you know they made the rich's big tax break permanent? Did you know they gave the rich subsidies, but they cut food stamps? That's a subsidy too. Did you know that the middle class and poor had the smallest percent of that tax break? Did you know that Trump's tax break increased the deficit by 1.5 or 2 trillion dollars a year? Did you know that Biden cut the deficit by $1.5 trillion dollars? Did you know that little tax break you got, you don't have it anymore? Because it ended in 2020. So now instead of a tax break that the Republicans will block for you middle class and poor. You now get a deduction in the amount you're paying for your medical cost. You've decreased the amount that you're paying out in your needs to compensate for that. Did you know that the package that Biden did get passed, they had to pass it not like a regular bill. They had to pass it as if it was a spending bill so that they could get it passed through, and that pissed the Republicans off. But yet, in that packet, there were provisions to fix your streets and to make factories to make chips in your state for computers so that the cost of your car can go down, and so that they could make charging stations, which creates jobs up and down this nation, so that we could start working on researching better batteries for chargeable cars and better electric cars, so we're not dependent on oil. Did you know that's what they passed? The Republicans are only out there telling you how they increased the amount of money going to the IRS so that you can get your tax forms and your pay back quicker. Did you know that Trump cut deductions for teachers who have a hard time already, for firefighters who have a hard time already, for workers who work in these corporations that make these one percenters rich? They cut your deductions. And for homeowners, middle class and poor owners. But yet, they gave the rich more deductions on child care, on homeowning, on their businesses. But they took it away from you. With everything they took away from the middle class and the poor, they should have been able to pay for that nice big tax break they gave the rich. But that tax break still took $1.4 trillion into the deficit. Because for everything that Trump and the Republicans have taken away from you middle class and poor, they gave it to the rich. But hey, let's not look up the facts. Let's not go to the government page and look up any senators or Republicans or the Democrats' voting history in the Senate and House, and what bills they voted yes or no on, and what that bill was about. Actually about. Read what it was about. Shit, the summary of that bill will give you far more of what the Republicans are telling you about that bill. You're too lazy to bother to do that. We've got all this wonderful technology. We've got this at our fingertips. We no longer have to go to a library to look up everything. We no longer have to pick up a phone and call Congress and say, hey, can I have you send out this, that, and the next thing and tell me how much it's going to cost me? No. We got this right here. And all we need to do is type in congressional voting histories. And you will find out what bills the Republicans voted on and what bills they filibustered. And you will be able to read about that bill. What was in that bill? And get the facts. But you won't do that. You'll just listen to the lies of the Republicans. Because it's so much easier. And the Democrats will keep on sitting back and not wanting to look controversial and not pushing back on it. And so, the Republican will keep on voting these damn Republicans in. And the Democrats will keep on saying, well, I don't want to vote for that Democrat. And I don't want to vote for the Republican for sure. So I'm sitting at home because I'm too cowardly to walk in and put a mark on the Republican. Because that's exactly what you did when you sat at home. You voted for that Republican. So now it's on you. And when the Republicans start getting that government they want, don't be surprised if soon your vote means nothing. That's what you want? Hell, I'm going to let you have it. I'm done voting. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the Republican lies. And I'm sick of the Democrats' refusal to push back on them lies. So that these Republicans get voted in on these lies. Let's see how controversial things get when we're living in a fascist country that the Republicans want. No, Republicans aren't really socialists. Not for the whole nation. But they sure are socialists for the 1%ers. And hey, let's try that trickle-down theory that works so well for Bush. Maybe this time, instead of just a recession, we can hit a depression. I'm done. I'm tired of the stress of what elections cause. I'm tired of getting pissed off at the Republicans' lies. I'm tired of being aggravated at the Democrats' refusal to push back because they don't want to look controversial. I'm tired of it. So it's all yours now. I'm 58 years old. I don't have that much time left. This will be all on you young folks. I'll be lucky if I get 10 to 20 more years, especially with my family history. Heck, I might even be lucky to live to 70. So the majority of everything that's going on politically is on you. And I'm going to do everything in my power that I can do to get me a solar generator, to get me solar panels, to make sure that I have some way of making some kind of income to pay my taxes on my house every year. And maybe even find me a way to be able to get water without having to have the city pay for it. I'm going to find some way to make myself as self sufficient as I possibly can be. Because when the Republicans get what they want, at least I'm going to have my house to sell to be able to get myself some kind of portable home before I lose my house. And then I'll have an income I can tuck away so that I can pay for what I need until I'm dead. Because that's where the Republican wants people like me, anyways. That's where the Republican wants your grandmother and your grandfather who are sitting in nursing homes right now, unless you're one of the one percenters. Then they can have all the nursing homes they want. The rest of you, the Republicans just gave you a big one of these.